So, Alien vs. Predator movie possibilities have been teased by the Predator Badlands director. Now, I've gone on record, and I will repeat it here as well. I don't think the time's right for an AVP just yet. Just yet. I think build towards it. Build towards it. I think that's fine. I think it'd be good to have a movie eventually. If there's the right story. I think you can definitely do it. Just don't do it yet. A lot of these universes that they're trying to expand out, they kind of race to the finish line too quickly. Keep teasing, Keep edging us towards it. I'm happy. That's fine. Edge. Keep going. Obviously, have the happy ending eventually, as it were. But we don't need to rush it, do we? Enjoy a bit of the foreplay, as it were. So, let's take a look at this. This is an exclusive to the Direct. We've heard a lot about this prospect of an AVP movie. It's very clearly something that they're talking about behind closed doors. One would imagine, based on the fact that this keeps popping back up. It's a repeated statement in the press. Probably to float it as an idea. See what people think. And with the fact that Predator Badlands solidified the universes, the connectivity of the universes far in the future, it makes sense that it's something which is clearly being discussed behind closed doors. But anyway, Alien vs. Predator 3. Well, hopefully it wouldn't be 3 at that point. Hopefully those movies won't exist. In canon, anyway. There were some good things about those movies, some horrendous things. And I think if you're continuing this direction that they're going down, I think just scrap it. Start fresh. Don't be hamstrung by anything which came before it in that regard. I'm definitely a proponent of keeping lore and canon to a universe correct, but we don't have to, we don't have to respect that canon and lore. I know that it has people love it. I know that, but yeah, start fresh. So anyway, like I said, this is the Direct, and they say that Dan Trachtenberg got honest about potentially creating an Alien vs. Predator 3 movie. Trachtenberg made his Predator franchise debut with Prey, and then moved to the animated space with Predator Killer of Killers, before returning to the big screen with Badlands. Some would argue that Trachtenberg's extensive knowledge of the Yautja... I'd like to have a conversation with Dan about his quote-unquote extensive knowledge of the Yautja, because some stuff some stuff did seem contradictory. So, combined with delivering 3 successful Predator movies, makes him a perfect candidate to direct a future Alien vs. Predator crossover. You know what? I'm going to say I wouldn't want him to direct the AVP movie. Actually. I'm going to say I'd like someone new to direct the AVP movie. Not because... well, not for any other reason than I think a fresh face would be good. To be honest. I think someone a bit more horror focused would be good. Less... Not to say that Dan's bad, but could you imagine Scott Derrickson doing an AVP movie, like a horror director? I think that'd be really good. Make it an actual horror movie. Proper horror film. Anyway, leave your picks for a director down below. So, it is a tall order, especially after fans of both franchises considered the first 2 AVP movies as the low points for both sci-fi series. Amid the clamour for a proper AVP movie, Trachtenberg has a perfect plan laid out for what needs to happen for the crossover to be a worthy entry in the franchise. Worthy? Well, let's see what he says. So, speaking in an exclusive interview with the Direct, Predator Badlands director Dan Trachtenberg addressed whether there have been any conversations about making AVP 3, noting that the, quote, coolest part of it would be grabbing these elements and letting them cook. Do hate that phrase. Indicating that he wants the shared universe to develop organically before finally pulling the trigger on a crossover movie, which is the that is the best way to do it. So the direct said, or asked him, recently, Fede Alvarez joked that he was like, oh yeah, I have to co-direct an AVP film with Dan Trachtenberg. Have there been any conversations about doing a proper AVP at some point with Disney or 20th Century Fox? 20th Century. And Dan says, for me, the coolest part of it would be grabbing these elements and letting them cook, you know? Once again, we don't want to pull it out of the oven too quickly and have it all just be raw. We really want things to simmer and boil and get up to the perfect temperature. I don't know. I don't cook too many terms now. So, I mean, that's good, right? That's kind of what I said at the start, what they should do. And then the director says, given that this movie does star a Weyland-Yutani synthetic, this is basically like an alien crossover film without the xenomorphs. Can you talk about why you chose to make an alien crossover film without a xenomorph? Idea number one was because Prey was such a solo survival tale. I wanted this to be a relationship movie. Not like that, you weird people. Grace Randolph thought Deck was going to bang the synth or something. It's weird stuff, man. She's weird. Anyway, especially because we were going to have this predator speaking in a different language and wanted to see it have a dynamic with something and interact to get more of a window into its insides. Because it wasn't certainly going to voice them out loud. I wanted to pair him with something, and I knew if we put a human in the movie, then it becomes the Humans movie, and he's just in it. And T2 already exists, you know, and it was really like, no, we've got to make sure that whatever else I put him in there with, he's still the protagonist. And so I thought, a monster and a robot, there's something that's really fun about that. So he says this, and then thought, well, I know a company that makes robots that is under the same technical, I can use them because they're owned by Fox and Disney, by 20th and Disney, and also these franchises I've touched before, and I just thought it's so much cooler rather than just grabbing the action figures and smashing them together. It's so much cooler to take an element from one franchise and fuse that to another. That's something we hadn't quite seen before, and that's how it all kind of came to be, which is cool. And then the director asked about a possible continuation of Badlands and the other Predator movies under his belt. Trachtenberg confirmed that he would love to make more, and there are plenty more ideas for those stories. So the director said, Prey, Killer of Killers and Badlands promises that there's a little bit more to be told. Can we hope for a continuation at some point for those three films? I think this movie just has to do well, and hopefully it will, but should it? I would certainly love to make more. There's plenty more ideas in the hopper for sure. So, basically, his idea is similar to mine. You know, let the universes drip feed a sort of a blending together. And then eventually do the crossover. I think that's good. I think that's the way to do it. Who would you like to direct it, though? I still go with like a horror movie director. I'd really like a horror guy to do it. Make it something different, you know? Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Bye now.